Hi, this is Dhirendra. Today we are going to discuss the life story of Parashuram and what are the qualities which we can learn out of his life story. So before we do that, let's have a small introduction of Parashuram. Parashuram is said to be the sixth avatar of Vishnu. Parashuram is said to be coming future Guru of Kaliki, who is going to come as avatar after the end of Kali Yuga. He is said to have great strength, he is said to be quite skillful with his axe, and he is said to be a devotee of Vishnu. He was the son of Jamadagni and his wife Renuka. They had total of 5 sons. And he is also said to be the killer of 21 generations of Kshatriyas because of their act of immorality, because of their act of injustice, as a result of which he kept on cleaning those Kshatriyas for 21 generations. And he is also said to be one of the only avatars who doesn't die. He is said to be an avatar who was also in Mahabharata and so was in Ramayana. So there are few instances of him being interacted with Rama and few interactions of his interactions with Karna and Bhishma and one of the other females called Amba. So we will discuss all of it in a brief in the coming sections of the video, but before we do that, let's understand his life story. He was born to a family, as I said, Jamadagni. Jamadagni himself had a very interesting birth story wherein his mother named Satyavati had served a rishi, out of which he was so happy that he asked for some boon. Satyavati's mother didn't have sons, so she asked to give boon to her mother to have a child. Out of happiness and seeing the sincerity of the girl, Satyavati, Rishi offers her 2 sweets to be eaten in a particular way. Her mother comes to know about the whole story, and she thinks that Rishi has given her a better quality of sweet so that her son would be of greater quality in terms of wisdom, strength and maturity. So she interchanges the sweets and eats it. From Yoga Vidya, the Rishi comes to know about the whole action and is angry. So he comes in front of Satyavati and says that your son will be born as Kshatriya and her son will be born as Brahmin. So Kshatriya will be born, but he will have all the qualities of a Brahmin. Hers, that means Satyavati's mothers, will be born as Brahmin but will have all the qualities as Kshatriya. After listening to this, Satyavati requests the Rishi to allow her son to be a Brahmin and her grandson to be a Kshatriya. In this way, her son named Jamadagni is born and her grandson becomes a Kshatriya. So that's the whole story of how Parashuram has both the qualities of Kshatriya and a Brahman. There are other stories also in different Purans. There are many birth stories in Purans of Parashuram. So let me highlight 2-3 stories for you. The first story says in chapter 6 of Devi Bhagavat Puran, he is born from the thigh with intense light surrounding him that binds all the warriors, who then repent their evil ways and promise to lead a moral life if their eyesight is restored. The boy, that is Parashuram, grants them the boon. In chapter 4 of Vishnu Puran, Richika prepares a meal for 2 women, one simple and another with ingredients if eaten would cause the woman to conceive a son with martial powers. The latter is accidentally eaten by Renuka and she then gives birth to Parashuram. The third story is in chapter 2 of Vayu Puran. Parashuram is born after his mother Renuka eats a sacrifice offering made to both Rudra, that is Shiva, and Vishnu, which gives him a dual characteristic of Kshatriya and Brahmin. So after knowing these 3 stories, we have a fair idea about, okay, this man had a quality of a Kshatriya, this man had a talent of being an avatar. But here is a small story which highlights why he killed Kshatriyas for 21 generations. One was obvious, the reason of their being unjustful, their being wicked, their being immoral. That leads that leads him to keep killing them to establish the equilibrium of justice, to establish the equilibrium of fairness, morality in the world. There is another interesting story wherein his father was killed by Kshatriya Arjuna. Kshatriya Arjuna was one individual who was a king and had come to visit his father, Jamadagni. Jamadagni had Shurvi cow who was able to fulfill all the requirements, demands one puts it to her. After getting the good hospitality and having a like for getting that Surabhi, Kshatriya Arjuna asked for that cow Surabhi, who was said to be the daughter of Kamadev. Jamadagni declines to give that cow to Kshatriya Arjuna. So, in the process, Kshatriya Arjuna kills Jamadagni. Parashuram was not at that point of time, he was away from the home. Seeing this, Parashuram is unhappy. He goes on to kill Kshatriya Arjuna. He's cut his hands, all the 100 hands, and his head. He chops off his head and promises that in future, whoever generations of Kshatriyas who will be immoral, who will be wicked, who will be not kind to common human beings, they all will be wiped out. And the legend says that his retaliation was so huge that generations of Kshatriyas wept, that 5 rivers or 5 lakes were filled with their tears. He also went ahead to do the ritual, the death ceremony called Shraddha with the blood of the Kshatriyas, but he was stopped by Shiva, or in fact Vishnu, not to do that. So he stopped doing that. So this was the story of Parashuram killing 21 generations of Kshatriyas. There is another story where he kills his own mother. As the story goes, that his father was preparing for some havan and he asked his wife Renuka to bring water from the lake. Renuka goes in to bring the water, but near the lake she was preoccupied with the thoughts when she saw some king called Kshatriyas engrossed in with some other apsaras or fairies. This made her late in bringing water to the Rishi, as a result of which Rishi was angry. Agni, after seeing or understanding the behavior of his wife, Renuka, is angry and wants her to be killed. None of their sons are ready to kill it except for Parashuram, who was in awe of his father's ability as Rishi, as Munis. So he goes on to fight his own brothers in order before killing the mother. He kills not only his mother but also his brothers. He is in remorse. He wants a boon from his father to bring their life back. His father gives them the boon, and in this way their mother and the other brothers are given life again. But this whole aspect, this whole story shows a brutal aspect of Parashuram. Or a man can be impressed by somebody in such a manner that they can go to any extent as horrible as killing their own mother. So this whole story reflects not too good of Parashuram. Anyways, that story gets over here. There are other legends about how different lands in the southern part of India have come up. The legend goes that Parashuram threw his axe into the sea, and because of the axe falling onto the sea, the water receded, and as a result of which you saw whole of southern India, which includes Konkan region. So from Gokarna to Kanyakumari is said to be because he threw the axe, the water receded, and as a result of which all this land of Gokarna to Kanyakumari and have come up. There are other stories wherein he goes to meet Shiva. As Shiva was resting somewhere inside, his son Ganesha stopped Parashuram from moving ahead inside their bedroom or inside their private place. There is a fight and Ganesha wraps Parashuram under his hood and throws Parashuram onto the earth. after he falls onto the earth, he loses his senses. When he regains his senses, he so angry, he comes back to fight Ganesha, and in the process breaks his teeth, and that's why he is known as Ekdanta. That means Ganesha is known as Ekdanta. So we have seen his story of him killing his Kshatriyas. We have seen his story of him killing his own mother. We see his story of fighting. There are other instances of him and Rama in Ramayana, when Rama was able to easily pull the string out of Shiva's Dhanush. He was angry that how can someone so easily do that, so he wanted to fight with Rama. But the whole fight was stopped when Rama's father Dasratha intervened. So this story of this interaction of Rama and Parashurama, wherein they are fighting to prove that one is better than the other, shows that even the greatest of human beings can be affected by hatred or can be affected by anger because of somebody's better abilities as a skillful character. Now if you see how Puranas or how Ramayana or how Mahabharata structures Parashuram's image, in most of the text he is said to have two hands, he is said to have an axe in the right hand, and he is said to have arrows or other warfare weapons on. But in Agni Puran, he is portrayed as with 4 hands, carrying axe, bow, arrow and sword. In Vishundhar Motra Puran and Rupa Mandana, he is described as a man with matted locks, with 2 hands and carrying 1 axe. In Bhagavad Puran, his icon is described with 4 hands, carrying his axe, bow, arrows and shield like a warrior. Though a warrior, his representation inside Hindu temples with him in war scenes is rare. Typically, he is shown with 2 hands, with as I said, an axe in the right hand. There are few temples of Parashuram in India. There is Ananteshwara temple, which is in Udupi, where Parashuram is worshipped in the form of lingam. There is a Parashuram temple in Thiruvananthapuram in Tiruvallam, Kerala. There is Parashuram Kund in a district of Arunachal Pradesh, which is said to be curing people of their sins, which is said to be washing away people's sin, and hence there are a large number of devotees who go to that temple. There is also Mahurgarh in Nanded district. People come to visit Parashuram temple, and there are 108 Shiva temples also. So what are the life lessons, if we have to quickly summarize what we can learn out of his life story? So he is a great warrior, he is a skillful warrior. That's why he is so apt in his axe abilities that he becomes the greatest warrior in mythology. His willingness to learn, his commitment to practice, his ability to fight for war, for something which is right, is one of the learnings. There is one story wherein the few Brahmins are fighting about who is the greatest of the Brahmins among them. So he goes on to them and picks up a sand in his hand and says that count how many sand particles are there. So finally he throws all those particles into the sea and says that everyone can be a Brahmin and everyone is a Brahmin. So that shows his empathy for all other caste or for all other beings on earth. There are stories of Parashuram. There are stories of Parashuram going into the forest after he has done all those killings of 21 generations of Kshatriyas. He goes back as an ascetic, lives a peaceful life only in the forest and with nature, with animals. He is said to have learned the language of the animals when he was quite young during his upbringing. So hope the whole information has been useful to you as an individual to understand the whole character of Parashuram and understand what were the few qualities, good qualities, few drawbacks in his personality to judge him as a person, as an avatar, and perhaps there are few qualities which are controversial, and that's why he is not as popular as other avatars of Vishnu, be it Krishna, be it Lord Rama. Hope the information has been useful. Thank you. Thanks for your time and patience.